I'm Liz Fleming, Chief Ecosystem Officer here at South Summit. This is our 15th edition, and this is my 15th South Summit. We're getting there, Yael. Over the years, we've learned a lot. It's actually in total, it's the 15th edition in Madrid. We've actually already done 5 in Brazil. You just saw my colleague here, Wagner. South Summit Brazil, South Summit Brazil. It's already been 5 years, and that's our Latin American HQ. It's a significant event. Here you're talking 15,000 people to 20 over the 3 days. Brazil is already like 20, 25,000. They do everything at a slightly different scale there, but it's amazing the opportunity to be able to interconnect the ecosystems. This year we have a huge delegation in from Brazil. They got to stand in the marketplace. You got to check it out. And next April, come with us to Brazil. Do not say you have not been invited. So from Brazil to Baku. I'm so excited for this conversation. And of course, the content team do a phenomenal job. Cami. Because we're not here by accident. We're here by design. So that you have Chief Innovation Chief Ecosystem Officer talking to Pasha Holding Group is no accident. And this is a part of the world that I have to confess I have never been to.
You have to come.
Excellent. Careful, huh? Because I'm the type of person, we will accept that invitation. Okay. Brazil invited us 6 years ago, and we haven't left since. Okay. So, but that's what we do, Yael. It's about building these relationships. And we are in Brazil, for example. Our HQ is in Porto Alegre, Rio Grande do Sul. Now, it's a state region in the south next to Argentina, Paraguay. They're open to trade and business. It's the right kind of culture of a place for us to land. They're leaders in innovation and technology parks. They have good government and private strategies pushing forward. So while we never would have thought of landing in Brazil, we obviously thought our Latin American HQ would be maybe Mexico, Argentina, etc. The right people and the right partners and the right mix of ingredients we find is what makes an ecosystem thrive. So enough about me. I want to know everything that's going on. Why should we know about what's happening in Azerbaijan and the region and the city of Baku? What is Pasha Group and the holding? Give us a little bit of background there. And how you guys kind of got into the world of technology, entrepreneurship, and innovation.
Okay, maybe first about Azerbaijan. I'm not sure everyone knows. Maybe some people heard about Azerbaijan, and mainly more like an energy country, because we are all very well known for our energy resources. By the way, also Azerbaijan is selling the gas to 14 European countries, 10 of them being part of European Union. So that's a significant, that's what Azerbaijan is known for regionally, globally. But there is another Azerbaijan, or other part of Azerbaijan. And if you think about Azerbaijan, it's a small country. It's only 87,000 square kilometers, roughly, with 10 million population. But it has 9 climating zones out of 11. So we have everything, almost everything. We have mountains, we have beaches, we have subtropics, in Azerbaijan. Nice. So it's really a beautiful country with beautiful nature. Very young population, so the median age is about 34, which is, I think, roughly a decade younger than average European. And that population is quite hungry for success. They want to do new things. They want to achieve new things for the country and for the region. And also we have, by the way, we have quite a young government. Majority of our government representatives are Western educated with very good education. All of them are English speaking. All of them are quite advanced in the respective sectors. So and they are also supporting. We all go through, like we try to move from oil era to after oil era, and that's important for the country's future. When it comes to Pasha consists of 5 verticals, we call them. So the first vertical is financial industry and technology. Second one is real estate, all type of real estate almost. Third one is agro. Then we have grocery business in Azerbaijan, and the fifth one is entertainment and fashion and restaurants and that type. And we are in 6 countries, roughly $18 billion asset size, which is still growing every year. So but for me, Pasha Holding is not only these businesses, frankly speaking. Yeah? We have a purpose, and our purpose is we need to create value, and we need to create value for people in the countries where we operate to make their lives better. Sounds like a, I'd say, statement or motto, but that's reality. Especially if you think about Azerbaijan, you know, we have still majority of our assets are in the country, and we understand that the better country performs, the better we're gonna perform, because there's a huge correlation. We are too big not to depend on the country's economy, or let's say country's economy actually also depends on us to a certain extent. So from that perspective, the better people in the country or in other countries where we operate are gonna live, the more they're gonna buy our services and products. You know, that's a mindset which we are trying to instill into every employee, from top managers to new joiners.
Amazing, yeah. I mean, that's a wonderful philosophy, right? And it's very aspirational. It's very customer-centric, I guess. No, but broader than that, because it's almost an economic development ambition, let's say. And I guess we share some of that in terms of South Summit as a platform, because we consider ourselves that we go far beyond a conference, and it is a platform to really strengthen and power up, and we act as a catalyst to accelerate the entrepreneurial ecosystem regardless of the stage of the development that it's at. So it could be a super mature ecosystem or a more emerging ecosystem, and we go there, connect the dots, and try and power up and interconnect those ecosystems to drive it forward. And it's really about economic development. It really is kind of aligned with economic development policies. And I love seeing it from your perspective, because again, it's just business is a positive driver for change. You guys are doing it at a completely different scale. Yeah. We're working with much earlier stage companies whose ambition, you know, would eventually hit the size that you guys hit, or eventually become a conglomerate. There must be so much opportunity between the verticals you're working with. I think that's fascinating. So tell me a little bit about those. So you've incredible depth of knowledge of the markets and the industries you're working in. So, but a lot of them are more traditional industries, let's say, in this context. So when did you guys decide to bet for technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship? And how did you decide to, this is a community that we need to build, grow, and connect with?
Thank you. The answer is actually really, honestly, very simple. So probably 8 years ago, if you think we have at that time we had the largest, and it's still the largest retail bank in Azerbaijan. So financial institution bank, which was very traditional at the time. And we were growing, as retail portfolio was growing, lending was growing, all good. But then the regulators started regulating more and more, because we didn't want to retail loans or consumer loans grow faster than the business loans, because that could create potential problems in the future. So they started regulating, and also banking services penetrated the market. So we understand that there is some ceiling for our growth. Okay, we can grow, but we can grow 5-10% a year. We cannot grow anymore 30% a year or 40% a year. And then we said, okay, but at the same time, we had the largest customer base in the country. At that time, it was about 2.5 million out of 10 million population. And then we said, okay, if we cannot make more money from them selling them banking products, mainly lending products, how can we make money from these customers? And at the same time, what other needs they have which we can satisfy? So their life gets easier, better, and we also make money from it. So that's where it all started from. And then we said, okay, we need to provide them different services, not only banking, but for example, if they want to buy something online. And at that time, we actually didn't have any e-commerce platform in the country. So let us create e-commerce platform. Let's bring everyone to that platform so we can start selling their products to our customers. We'll finance, and we're gonna make money also as a commission from merchants. So that's one idea. The other idea was, okay, some people in those countries, it was cash-based economy, and it's not that easy to bring customers to the banks because regulators have some different requirements for opening accounts, and at that time it wasn't that easy as today. So we decided, okay, maybe we can create a separate company, provide them digital wallet with very easy onboarding process, and we started bringing them to so-called digital economy. So this was kind of thinking behind it and how it all turned out. But at the same time, that's not only it. Majority of our businesses are incumbents, so we're large enough for our country. And we understood, okay, and any company at any point of time probably can work seriously on a couple of ideas, like new ideas. We cannot test 20 ideas or 30 ideas, And then we understood, but we were feeling that the life is changing too fast. And regionally, globally, everywhere, the way people consume products, the way people want to live is a bit very changing every day. And then we said, okay, if there are only limited ideas we can work on ourselves, how can we make sure that those great ideas somewhere, some new founders of business in Azerbaijan or regionally, how can we get access to those ideas at the right time? Because we cannot work on all of them ourselves. So then we decided, okay, we need to make sure that Pasha is known as a platform. So it's not only we invest and create our own products or businesses, but we are also open to for others to come and test the products with our customer base, and by doing so, we will make the life of our customers again better, easier, which will definitely increase retention of customers. So this was kind of second angle of why we actually started doing this. And the third one was the more, again, in these businesses, when you are large enough and there's no significant competition, so like you're a market leader, very difficult to push everyone to innovate in those companies. So there should be a cultural change or shift in culture. And then again, once we know in our subsidiaries that we push for it, we do organize different events, we talk about innovation like daily, and it's like a new life. We actually also understand this is not the press release, Jalal going and giving interviews somewhere. He and the team is pushing it every day. So we understand we have an appetite, real appetite, to try new things, to fail, learn from it, to do again, etc. So to change this culture or to shift the culture, we also needed to be more open or to be more aggressive when it comes to innovation.
Amazing, amazing, thank you. And that's a super complete answer, I appreciate that. But give me an idea, a sense of the culture, what's the oldest company within the group, or how old is the group?
It's more than, the group itself is 20 years old, slightly more, 21. But the oldest company is more than 100 years old.
Wow,
we just privatized the bank.
Okay.
Soviet bank, which we privatized.
Yeah, amazing. That's amazing. I mean, one of our global partners here is Mutla, which is a large insurance company here. A huge player in the market, 100 years old, and they've been with us since the beginning, 15 years. Actually, our first edition was inside the Mutua campus on Plaza de Castellana aquí in the city center, their offices. They have a little auditorium downstairs, and we had a little conference of 500 people 15 years ago. So they were very strong reports in the beginning, but it's just phenomenal to see, for entrepreneurs, these changes can feel slow, but zooming out, they can be very fast. Because like Mutua, it's a company that's 100 years old. In 15 years, from a company that was kind of exploring how do we even open our ecosystem to an ecosystem of insurance that is so strongly regulated and tight and close, and internally looking. It's amazing actually in a very short space of time how it can dramatically, now they're doing entrepreneurship, spin-outs, in-outs, everything in between, they're acquiring companies and they're doing so many things in the ecosystem, but it's amazing to see how that cultural change, which actually seems like maybe the hardest obstacle at the beginning, it is actually possible, kind of over time. I think targeting people even from different directions, because I think you need an aligned strategy and ambition top down for sure. But it has to be peer-to-peer driven as well, you know what I mean? It has to be okay to mess up inside your team with your colleague, you know what I mean? And that's not easy to do. And I just want to connect that to Azerbaijan and the larger scale in the region. What is the entrepreneurial culture like there? Is it a very rigid corporate type culture? Is it a risk adverse population as a culture or not? Because actually it is a smaller region and sometimes that's a huge advantage. Yeah. It's just simply more agile, So what is the entrepreneurial culture like in Baku and Azerbaijan?
I think in our DNA we are very entrepreneurial. And don't forget Azerbaijan was and is in the history was on the Silk Road, actually connecting East and West. So that's why culturally we were always open, seeing all foreigners, different people, learning from them, etc. So culture is very open. But from another side, we were part of United Soviet Union for almost 80 years, or more than 80 years. And you want it or not, it has its own implication. So for example, in Soviet, just a very simple example of education, which I always bring. In our secondary schools, we could get our grades were from 1 to 5. 1 nobody is receiving, 2 fail, 3 satisfactory, 4 good, 5 is excellent. But when that's a grade. When you make 1 or 2 mistakes, you are not excellent anymore. You are good. Okay, so compared to the education system in the United States or I don't know in the Western world, it's normally from 1 to 10 or from 1 to 100 even, right? So if it's from 1 to 100, if you do more than 80, which means you may do some mistakes, you may not perfect, but still you get a perfect, it's excellent,
Yeah.
right? So the openness to mistakes, which every entrepreneur should have, meaning you need to be able to take some risks, etc., is something which we need to push in our company now too. Again,
Wow, so
because
that's
we are
legacy education systems. You're saying in the West, the margin for error is greater.
exactly, but also
Yeah.
we need to push for it. We need to talk about it. For example, recently we just started the so-called, there's a so-called fuck up movement or fail up movement, we call it in Azerbaijan. We don't want to use that word.
Yeah.
But normally there was a first session when I went to the stage and we had people from many companies, and I started talking about my own mistakes which I made in my career, in my family life, and I still continue doing a lot of mistakes every day almost, right? So nobody is perfect, but just trying to convey this message to open up, that takes time. That's why I think the more we do it, the better it's gonna be.
Cool, amazing. I mean, as you know, and it's probably the original connection here, but IE University are our major partner here. They're basically co-founder with us right since the beginning, and they've been all over the world with us. Are you doing anything, even at an impact level? Are you doing anything on the education side related to entrepreneurship?
Yeah, by the way, we just signed a partnership with IE also. IE is gonna open an executive education center in Azerbaijan.
Excellent,
we also do, IE is doing global MBA program for students in Azerbaijan, so-called Baku edition. That's to start hopefully in September. And for us, when it comes to education, for me, education is not just a bachelor degree or master's degree or whatever. I think it's a lifelong learning, is a real education. And again, for that, I strongly believe in certain, not formula, but categorization. So for anyone may have knowledge, skills, mindset. We can stop here and then we can expand. And then knowledge is becoming commodity now. With all ChatGPT or any other tool from AI, you can get any information as soon as you want, right? Then skills you can develop. And that's what we are trying to do, and hopefully also with the help of IE Executive Education Center and many other things, you can actually develop skills if you have good programs in your company. The one which is more difficult to do for me is changing mindset of people. And mindset is how you look at the issue. Is it a problem or is it opportunity? Or if something happens, are you looking for excuse outside, or you take ownership and then you learn from it, apply? So all these things are mindset. Very difficult to change, but that's also changeable if you do proper mentorship program, coaching program for leaders, etc. That's why we also invest a lot in our company. Like for all our leaders, top leaders, senior people, etc. There's continuous coaching and mentoring program. We work with different organizations, regional organizations. But I think what I've recently started thinking about, and when I was thinking also about AI and future of human, it's also, what about judgment? I think judgment is a fourth layer, and I can't see yet how AI can change judgment.
Judgment, yeah.
Because what AI, we all probably use them. So you ask questions, it gives you very nice analysis, then you apply your judgment, ask a couple of questions.
Yeah.
And it says, oh, you are right. If you incorporate that, then the answer is changing. And then again, you give your new judgment, etc., right?
Yeah.
So this judgment is not just taking whatever you see for true, but trying to judge, to apply your own judgment. That's what I'm not sure how AI models can do. Because again, when we talk about Gen AI, it's about predicting future, and it also predicts future from information. They can do it better than people, but still they cannot apply judgment. And I think this judgment layer is super important. It means we need to, but judgment is, for me, is same. Again, it's all combination of knowledge, skills, mindset, but also experience. So you need to have different experiences in life to improve your judgment. And what does it mean for us now is actually we need to expose our leaders to different situations, so they experience very different situations, so to improve their judgment. And then there is a fifth layer, I would say, the top layer for me is wisdom.
Nice.
I mean, and that's not AI thing. I think this is very different. That's very human thing. So this is very difficult to teach someone. But again, I think our role as organization and also in the countries where we operate is to find those people have great potential, who have a judgment. Sometimes even people at the age of 25, they can judge better than those which are at 50, right? So those people with a good judgment, improving that, trying to give them more experiences, people with the right wisdom, if we can select them to become future
How
leaders.
would you define wisdom there as the next level beyond judgment?
Okay, let me tell. For example, wisdom, when there is a problem, you decide, then you apply your judgment, saying, okay, that's a view. And then wisdom on top of it is something like, is it really the problem I need to deal with? Or maybe it's not a real problem. Why is it a problem? Why am I trying to solve this problem? Or for me, wisdom is also very long term. It's more like looking into the future and just see it, because we always react to different situations. But if your wisdom should say, okay, look, I mean, this is happening, someone is irritating you, or there is a big problem. What's in the future? Is it really impacting that big, or is it my ego talking? So wisdom is something like really more long term, and for me is more applying just managing your reactions. Maybe the last thing to add on this, there's a great formula I really recently learned and I want to share, is outcome equals event plus reaction. So just think about it. Events happen and we don't control them. But outcome is very different. You can only control your reaction to get an outcome you want to get, right? So for example, the crisis happens. None of us individually can change it, right? If it's a macro crisis or any other crisis. But our reaction to crisis, what do we do out of it, can change the outcome for us. It can still be negative, but maybe less negative than it would be if we don't react or react negatively. So this reaction is also probably part of this wisdom and judgment.
And I suppose that correct or preferred action can only be driven by judgment and wisdom.
Wisdom, yes, that's
As opposed
linked.
to reaction.
Exactly.
Yelel, this is totally fascinating. Given that this is AI Convergence edition of South Summit, I'm thrilled that you took us down that rabbit hole, and I will take away those insights around judgment and wisdom and fomenting, even from an educational perspective, but also from a leadership perspective, assuming that AI can actually serve us everything we need to do in the commoditization of knowledge. Well, how do we apply and teach and learn that judgment and that wisdom to actually put something unique, differentiational, and that creates a barrier to entry to do something more impactful and meaningful. So that is phenomenal. Cami, Tom, can I have another half an hour? Because we just started getting going here. I'm joking, but we'll take the conversation offline. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing. Big round of applause. Thank you, El.